I don't even know where to start. There's so much, and it's still so raw. Thank goodness voice to text has gotten better. I had been disconnected from my life, from humanity. Adrift. No, that's not right. Adrift sounds too peaceful. A person can be adrift accidentally or deliberately. Sometimes we just need to disconnect and be. A band I love, Wolf Alice, recently released a song called White Horses that kind of hit on this. I could just wander always like a leaf on the southeast breeze. I do not need no rooting, I carry home with me. To be a nomad floating on the waves of the Channel Sea. I can see England waving. White horses carry me. That feels deliberate. Purposeful? No. I had been unmoored. Lost my tethers that hold me close to anything. And waking every day helplessly lost at sea. Metaphorically, of course. I tried therapy, medication, all sorts of things, but nothing ever really felt right. Nothing pulled me back in. My therapist, to keep with the nautical theme, would say things like, "Oh, sounds like you're lost at sea. You should find a way back to shore." Yeah, I already know that. I'm here to learn to navigate by the stars. I'm here to learn to propel a ship with no sails or whose oars are bound by seaweed in the vast Sargasso Sea. Medication helped me in that there were no longer vast waves tossing me to and fro, threatening to sink me. But nothing got me closer to shore. Nothing gave me a map, showed me the way back home, and the tools needed to propel me home. And then, irony of ironies, as I was in my online journals, deep in the throes of exploring this metaphor, algorithms do what they do, and an ad popped up for a highly immersive Larp set during the Age of Exploration. The company putting it on, Mundus Omni, had an outstanding reputation for amazing, engaging events with rich, complex characters and profound stories. I happened to have a little extra money thanks to a long-standing pay issue at work finally getting resolved, and on impulse, I bought my ticket. I couldn't tell you exactly what prompted me to do so. It was such a big, expensive, impulsive decision, the time I'm not normally one to make. But it called to me, resonated with me. The right words at exactly the right time, I guess. And then I waited. It was months away, this game, and though I found it compelling, I struggled to muster any excitement. I felt, as I had often felt lately, nothing. Perhaps I will feel more excitement when I am given my character. Then the email came. I would be playing Donwall, the child of aristocrats with no desire to assume the title when the time came. I explored the character, researched what their life might have been like, delved into historical anecdotes. I developed a clear picture of who this Donwall was, but never felt connected to him. And so it continued. Perhaps I will feel excited closer on. Perhaps I will feel excited when my passport comes in. Perhaps when it's time to drive out to the airport. Perhaps once I land in Barbados. Perhaps once they ferry us out to the island. Perhaps once I'm in costume. Perhaps. And so for a day and a half, I played my part. A young sailor whose ship was irreparably damaged and beached during a storm, leaving the large crew stranded and attempting to build some sort of community from the wreckage. I did my job, collecting wood, carrying things around, helping keep spirits up, Having myself been a piece of driftwood for years, it was easy for me to play the emotional role of floating debris others could cling to for life, and perhaps through their kicking and paddling, I might reach shore. But something changed for me on that second day. Our characters were all on the beach, drinking away at our remaining bottles of wine and rum, when deep in our cups, someone got the idea to write messages to our loved ones and cast them out to sea in bottles in the hopes these glass messages might someday reach home and let our friends and families know we were not dead. Not yet, at least. On the island, while gathering supplies, we found evidence of a previous civilization and references to a vast, unfathomable ancient presence. There were signs of worship, of sacrifice, but no sign of death, no mass graves. How odd for a civilization to simply vanish like that. On the first night of the Larp, our characters had dreams of something called out to us from one of the inland caves. On the second night, we as players had those dreams. By day 3, these dreams and visions had permeated our waking moments. On the horizon, we could see the rumblings of a storm, a real storm, a tropical storm, and knew we as players would need to take shelter. Our flimsy beachside huts stood no chance, nor did anyone foolish enough to weather the storm in them. What choice did we have but to take the 3-hour hike inland into the cave? As we walked, we talked. We got to know each other better, at least each other's characters. But even as we had trauma bonded over our imaginary tragedies, those links we found were very real. I can't speak for the others, but I can say, as I slipped more and more into the immersive reality of Lord Donwall's world, I had begun to care for these imaginary people and their very real human souls portraying them. It was beautiful. For the very first time in ages, I felt connected to other living beings. It was magical. It was fulfilling. It was everything. As I entered the caves with these newfound friends, we found a ritual circle and candles all around. On some previous expedition, it seems some other crew of our ill-fated trip had unearthed some magic in an old journal left by the civilization that had gone before us. It said they had reached a point where there could be no other means of survival but the ritual, and so we as players dove headfirst into it. It's all part of the story, right? And there were no graves, no random skeletons lying around. Based on the evidence the event coordinators gave us, it seemed pretty clear that this was what we were supposed to do. And with the very real storm approaching, it seemed the perfect way to wrap the story up. Raising a toast, my crew and I each said our goodbyes to our time on the island, our ship, the Rasmussen, and of course, to one another. We gathered up what chalk, salts, and gunpowder we had lying around, chanting strange words we were given as though singing a sea shanty. As the time swiftly approached, we could feel tremors in the air, the tingling buzz of excitement leaping from fingertip to fingertip as we held hands and formed a circle, singing, our voices dropping into unearthly harmonies as if on instinct. I couldn't let go of my friend's hands if I wanted to. Slowly and without prompting, we found our circle drawing tighter and tighter around the center, fingers interlaced, hands gripping tighter and tighter, standing shoulder to shoulder as our bodies pressed together. The comforting heat of my neighbors permeated my skin, seeped into me, warmed me, connected us, bound us. I was them. They were me. We were we. Still pressed in closer. As our circle slowly compressed into a point, the machete I wore upon my belt snagged on something, though after the shock of what followed, I can no longer remember what. When I reached to dislodge my blade so I could move in with this crowded throng of beautiful humanity, I found that I could not let go of my new friend's hand. It was not that we were gripping each other too tightly, though we were, nor was it an unwillingness to release this beautiful closeness, this perfect connection, though I certainly didn't want to. No, our fingers, our palms had fused. We were one skin, one flesh. In shock, I tried to pry my hand free to wrench us apart, but with no success. My right hand had begun the process also, I could feel, but was not so far along. With jaw clenched, I used my last remaining grit to tear the flesh from my right palm so I might reach my machete. Even after getting my hand free and dislodging my blade, a very strong part of me wanted to take up my friend's hand once more. Wanted to be part of the beautiful togetherness and connection of the expanding mass of humanity, or at least of human flesh in the center. I wanted so badly to stop resisting and join them. But I was afraid to let down my walls, to truly connect. And so I pulled away. I grabbed my machete with no other choice available to me. I hacked my own left arm off so I might escape instead. Slick, hot blood threatened to send the blade clattering away with every swing. With each desperate flail, I could hear the circle moan within the depths of their chanting. At last, I broke free and promptly slipped upon the blood, my blood, our shared blood, pooling on the floor. Had I not fallen, I could not say for certain I would not have reached out with my stump to rejoin them, to let the circle fuse my arm back together and make me whole, to make us all whole, all one, all complete. Instead, like the small injured child in the tale of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, did I cry and watch as they pushed in closer and closer, as they combined more and more into a single wretched, glorious entity. When at last I could rise to my feet, I made for the cave mouth. The wet red floor threatened to hold me back, to keep me there, to allow me to be consumed by the thing, or worse, forced to reckon with my decision not to become a part of the thing. The staggering stumble through the woods was no easy feat, bleeding as I was, but desperation is a powerful motivator. When at last I reached the beach, I found a small fishing vessel near the shore, drawn to the smoke from our beachside bonfire. Gasping from exertion and loss of blood, I hazily repeated to them all that I had seen. I thought they might laugh or kick me off the boat. Instead, they dressed my wounds and said that, yes, the island did that sometimes. It would draw people in, draw them together. I am home now. Well, not home, per se. I am back in my house with my books and my games and my clothes. It's been several months, and the doctors say I'm healing nicely. Authorities searched the island but never found any trace of the other missing players. They never will. I know where they are. I can still feel them through my arm. I feel them in the cave. I can still feel my arm, not in a phantom limb way, but in a very real sense, calling to me from the island, reaching out for me, pulling me back, longing to be made whole once again. More than whole. To be made one. I've not lost an arm, you see. My arm is right where it belongs. It is my arm that has lost me. It knew, though the rest of me tried to deny it. Afraid to connect, to truly connect with the others. Afraid to be whole. Afraid to be one. But I have stared down that fear. I have felt the gravity of connection, of beautiful oneness calling to me. And I have already purchased my ticket back to Barbados. Thank you so much for listening to my narration of this wonderful story. Don't forget to support the author, which I have linked in the description, as well as the original story. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Scott, Old Penguin, Ellie Hutmeyer, Mr. Sankofa, Austin My Love, Rinku Star, William Hartley, Cupcake Hips, Alonzo, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Eric Cifuentes, Lawrence Wallen, and Melissa Perez. I also try to link a different charity or a different cause every month and maybe a little more. So don't forget to check out the description to support the author of the story you just listened to and to maybe help somebody else out, even if it's just $1. As always, if you guys have a prayer request, please let me know in the comments, shoot me a message on Discord. I would love to know how I can be praying for you. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.